Well, let's get into then the top-ranked rugby nations go to battle in the nation's capital this evening, with the Springboks hoping to secure a victory against the Irish, as you've heard, a nation they have not beaten since 2016. Well, to talk to us about this all-important clash, we have roped in Senior SABC News Sports reporter Thando Mxoli. And by roped, I mean literally yanked you out of your desk to have this discussion. It is an important match. We've heard what Siya Kolisi has to say. Yeah. What is it about this Irish team that is so hard to beat? I mean, as you've heard, they have not been beaten by the Springboks since 2016, not even in the World Cup, which we won last year.
That's what happens when you got a team with really good structures. The current Wallabies Australian coach, Joe Smith, basically created those structures in Ireland rugby. And the current coach now, Andy Farrell, basically elevated the standard that he had been set. They're very well coached. For the last probably 6 years, they have been the number one side in between the World Cups. They really are a really good team, well coached, very disciplined, both on attack and defense. So yeah, man, it's literally a battle of two of the best rugby nations in the world, purely because we are the world champions, back-to-back world champions, and Ireland have played they've played the best rugby in between the World Cups. The only thing they don't have is a World Cup trophy. Everything else that they've won. They've won in New Zealand, they've won in South Africa, they've won everywhere. And that's all you sort of want as a rugby neutral, to see two giants going head-to-head at a ground like Loftus-Versfeld with all the history that the ground holds.
And I want to talk to that point, of the structures that they have in place. I mean, let's look at the coach, Andy Farrell, goes against Rassie Erasmus. Both of these men are fantastic at what they do. What makes them so special?
Just like the two teams are rated 1 and 2 in the world, Rassie and Andy Farrell are probably 1 and 2 in the world in terms of coaching. Andy Farrell will take over the British and Irish Lions next year when they go to Australia. So it's one of those where you sit and you look at Rassie and what is achieved with the Springbok teams. Yeah. 2 World Cups, you can't question against that. So again, it's two very smart, adaptable coaches, because both of them have got different ways of looking at the game. Andy Farrell has been both defense and attack coach at the highest level, and as head coach, he's proven his worth with coaching this Irish team to be the best in the world for a long period of time. Rassie Erasmus, again, there's nothing more that we can say. He's basically proven his worth by winning the trophies and beating the best that is out there. The reason we haven't beaten Ireland is purely because Ireland are a very good team.
That said, and with all of that context, I mean, let's look at today's game. A few minutes to go, I believe. Just over 10 minutes to go before kickoff begins. I mean, the Springboks have decided to go with experience, going against this particular team. I mean, what are their chances? What are we looking at?
Look, chances are 50-50 in this one, as far as I'm concerned. In terms of experience, this is probably the second most experienced side we've ever picked.
Yeah.
It's a team that has won. It's a team that has been together for such a long time. They've grown together. They've been through adversity together. They've beaten some big teams on big occasions as a unit, like we heard in the package before. Unfortunately, this group of players and coaching staff have never beaten Ireland. So it's one of those bogey teams, if you want to put it like that. But most of those matches have happened in Ireland. They haven't played us a lot of times on South African soil. And we're taking them to Loftus, which has got the altitude factor, and also that Loftus, when it's full, it can be a very intimidating ground. And none of these players would have played in front of a full Loftus when everyone is against them. So again, there are a couple of things that weigh in our advantage, but still, we're up against a very good team. Ireland are missing a couple of players, about 4 key players, but still, they've put up a decent 23 for the day. And when you look at our guys, these are guys who have been on form. They've got the experience behind them. They've got the trophies behind them. What more can you want as a neutral? And
if we pinpoint just some of the guys that are on this particular lineup, I mean, the selection was quite interesting. Of course, Lebok missing out on this one. Mgobe Zulu in. Just talk to me about, who you would like to see do what where.
So Coach Rassie was asked about the Manie Lebok situation.
Yeah.
Manie Lebok has always been seen as Andre Pollard's understudy. But what has happened, he's had to adapt. If he's picking more forwards in his bench, he's had to look at what's he going to do with the 2 or not even 3, just 2 backline players that he's got. So he's trying to find people who can play more than one positions. Sasha Feinberg Mngomezulu can play fly half, he can play center, he can play wing, he can play fullback. The other one is Grant Williams, who's a very good wing and a very good scrum half. So in case we have an injury somewhere, those guys, are the drop in quality is not that big. But then, if for example, Mani Libok was in the team, Mani would come in at fly half, then Handra Pollard would have to move from fly half to inside center. Then he's not playing in his best position, and then the quality is also compromised in that sense. But still, very capable players who are on form. They've shown how good they are in the last year or so. Sasha is seen as a future, basically, because he's not just a player, he's also a leader. He's got multiple skills. He's a good ball carrier, very good defensively, and also he's a very good kicker, as he's shown against Wales when he kicked that bomb from 55 meters out on the angle. It's that kind of talent that we need to nurture and groom and take forward going into the future, because we're going into a very important 4-year cycle. We'll be looking for the 3rd World Cup trophy, and we will see how we go with this one.
Fantastic. Okay, I hate the fact that it's so difficult to predict, but I guess it is what it is. Thando, thank you so much for your time. Of course, that is our senior SABC Sports reporter.